Hello and welcome to the Above Average podcast. I'm Sean, and the remaining people forgot to introduce themselves.
I'm Nitin.
I'm Sishan.
And we are here to confuse everybody on exactly what we are doing over here. So, the Above Average podcast is the podcast where we talk about everyday things that you see in your everyday life and we connect it to what we do in our everyday lives. So, on that note, in this whole COVID pandemic, we have come across many of our doctors and frontline warriors who are doing a lot of things for our society, and they're nothing less than superheroes. And on that segue, today's topic is the review of the superhero show, The Boys. So, The Boys. Um, what do we say about it? Okay, first of all, before we get into anything about The Boys, this is your spoiler warning upfront. We are going to talk about The Boys season 1 very briefly and The Boys season 2 as well. And we will be talking about the spoilers involved in both the episodes, both the seasons. So, if you have not watched the series and you are here listening to it because you love us, I'm surprised and thankful at the same time. But please do watch the series and come back and watch this, or you can
Uh,
watch our episode and then come back
yeah,
and go and watch the series later.
it'll be good for our views as well. Let them continue watching it.
Yeah, or you can watch this, then go watch the
Yeah,
series, and then come back and watch this again, and then just see how much
watch it again. Yeah,
you know screw ups you made. Yeah, yeah. So basically, how we screwed up badly. All
yes.
right. So
And they can share the
the
video as
boys.
well.
Uh, oh, please, yes. Okay, so Nathan, according to you, let's just
Mm.
start up with you. Like, if you want to, do you want to give an introduction about the boys?
See, boys is like actually what I would say. I'm just going to link different superheroes here. Like what Batman was all scared of. What happens if the power is in the wrong hands? Exactly, the boys just showed us exactly that. We have a super villain, Superman type of superhero here. I don't know what to call him, superhero, super villain, or what kind of name, the Homelander. He has got such powers, but it's all in the wrong hands, and he can bring great danger to the human civilization.
So, your Homelander is basically from his perspective superhero, and what he does see other people as those who are effectively the enemies of the company, that is What International is the company who has manufactured the superheroes. So in this universe, what you would see is that um, the superheroes or the soups that they're called in
Soups,
the
yeah.
show, they are not, yeah, they are not natural as such. They are basically manufactured. So if you will see behind each of our virtual backgrounds, you have Zishan with uh, sitting with the boys. So you have the boys sitting over there, and you have with in Nitin's background you have the seven, as they're called. So the seven are actually the soups of the War International, and the ones behind me that you see, you have Justice League on one side and you have the Avengers on the other side. So these two are the so-called, I think, inspiration behind Boys. So Boys as such is a comic that was made sort of in a satirical fashion to make fun of how the comics industry is running, and as well as the, so basically if you're talking about Homelander is a combination of Superman and Captain America, but in a very egomaniacal way. Like, think of
Twisted.
Ultraman, twisted way, in a twisted way. So you
Yeah,
have
according to him, what he sees is the right version of the world.
what he sees is the right version of the world, and he sees himself as a person who must be worshipped, and
Yeah,
he is the savior of specifically
Earth.
United States, not the world, not the world, not the earth, specifically United States. He is the hero of United States. That's what he's branding himself as. In the second season of the series, you'll see that. So, okay, so we have heard about Homelander. Z, do you want to weigh in some of your thoughts?
Yeah. So this basically, as Nitin mentioned, answers or puts into perspective what Batman feared when superheroes get um, what do you say, corrupted by their power. And in the comics itself, like one of the initial panels in the first chapter itself talks about when superheroes get reckless that is when this kind of show puts into perspective. Because when we watch superhero movies, and I'm sure you've watched a lot of the Marvel Avengers series movies, you see like superheroes going through cars and like hitting up buses and blowing up stuff, buildings,
Right,
etc.,
right,
whatever. So those are most of the time shown to be like empty. Hopefully, like
right.
they don't show human side, human casualties or anything of that nature. So the boys kind of puts that perspective, like not all buildings are empty. There are people living there. There are people living their life. Like um, one of the very first few scenes in the show itself talks about how Homelander saves or a bank robbery or something of that nature. Like he stops that, and then he
Yeah.
just hits up he throws the robbers, whoever, without any regard for their well-being or like serving up justice, because in his mind justice is stopping the crime at whatever the cost. So
Hmm.
that is what's going on in his mind, and you see him punch up a guy who lands a few hundred meters away from the thing. So yeah, that's what's in his mind. So this basically answers your questions, like what happens and when they get reckless and how can they be kept in check. That's why the team behind me in my background, they come into play. They try to keep all the bad superheroes in check by all means necessary.
So in the second season, we learned that the boys was actually brought together by the CIA. So you have a person called as Mallory, Malloroy. Mallory, she's brought into picture. She's the one who's bringing in all these people who have special, I won't say abilities, but specialities. So, for
Skill
example, you have
sets.
skill sets. Thank you, skill sets. So you have Mother's Milk, you have Frenchie, you have the Butcher, and one person called the Lamplighter, who is there in the second season, not in the first season.
Yeah.
So Lamplighter is sort of like a double agent, you can say. The point being that they had brought in this crew to ensure that the superheroes are kept in check. So the CIA was already sort of iffy about the whole situation where Ford International, a private company, is okay. So basically, what industry is all about is so imagine if Captain America's serum, the super soldier serum, okay, which is being manufactured. So what we see in Captain America is that this person has synthesized the serum, and only Captain America has got the proper serum. So post that, you have Red Skull who's got it. You have Luke Cage who's got it. You have even Hulk who's got it, a version of it. So they've all tried to perfect the superheroes, the super soldier serum, but somehow the concoction wasn't correct, and they messed up somehow or the other, and they've reached these versions of it. So just imagine if Captain America's super soldier serum was uh, could be replicated to its perfection and was privatized and commercialized and sold out. Okay, so this is what industry does. What they do is they have a super soldier serum, and then they privatize it, and then they manufacture superheroes. What many people don't know about now. Okay, so Nitin, do you want to tell what happens with the super soldier serum in the series?
Yeah,
Do you want to investigate?
they show the lab, everything, the side effects, how they conduct the experiments, and the things that faced by the experiment subjects, everything.
When they're talking about the experiment, so you have two versions of the experiments over here. One you have is where the experiments are done on adults. That's one version of it, and the second version of it is where the serum is being injected into infants, babies.
Maybe.
So one version, rather two versions of the adult experimentation we see, one in the first season and one in the second season.
Second season.
So in the first season we see, yeah, in the first season we see the female. That's the character's name, the female. So the female is actually the adult version of the adult. She was as an adult. She was experimented on when she was in the show. In the comics, it's a different story. So, and in the second season, we find her brother who's also been experimented on. That is the idea behind it. And then you have kids being experimented in the first season. So, Water International wants to make sure that they are holding on to this serum so that they can uh, joined with the military and basically ruled US is what the entire
US.
obvious plan is.
Like a superpower.
Basically, so this is trying to
Yeah.
commercialize the entire military stuff.
And you can see that in the second season also, Homelander, how he goes and preaches like we are under attack, we have a lot of bad soups coming in, so everyone needs to be powered up, everyone needs to this serum.
This basically has a bit of social commentary in it too. Like there's like real
Yeah.
world events that are being parodied, which we should probably get into later on in this session.
So yeah, so that actually brings up a good one. So what Zishan was talking about was the social parody of it. So this is basically like a pharmaceutical company saying that, oh, there's this new virus. Again, not talking about the COVID, but manufacturing. This actually happened earlier also, where they manufacture a virus, or they claim to manufacture a virus, and it is spread in the world. And then a couple of months later, they come and say, oh, we have the cure for it, or we have the vaccine for it, but it will cost you two of your livers, two of your kidneys. That expensive of a cure or vaccine. So that is basically what even the boys, the show is depicting in a way, where they're saying that, uh, you know, okay, so we are having bad soups coming in, they are attacking the country, and you require us in your military to make sure that you're safe. Only thing what they don't tell is that the superhero or the super soldier serum has been leaked to the terrorists, and the terrorists are amped up on the V. What is it called? Chemical compound V. Compound V. The chemical is called
Compound
compound V.
B.
Compound B.
Compound V. So they're amped up on compound V, and so they what basically manufactures the terrorists as well as the superheroes, and then that's how the whole thing starts off. The whole aggression between the two, well, entities. So that's how. So boys, in a whole picture as a whole, they try to stop the superheroes. Superheroes, on the other hand, are trying to stop the terrorists. And in all of these things, we have no clue who are we supposed to be supporting in the entire mess. So
Yeah, there's a lot of like commentary related to like capitalism, gun culture in the US, minorities. There's a lot of like um, topics that are touched upon in the show. For example, we like what does any action reaction is all based on their share prices. If a certain superhero can push up their stock prices, they put them into that team. So for example, like A Train, he's a minority, he's a black by ethnicity, so they put him in, and that kind of boosts their points. And even in season 2, when they're recruiting new superheroes, for spoiler alert, for a fallen member of the Seven, they I forgot who the lady is, but basically she is basic. Sorry?
Stormfront.
No,
Storm.
no, 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 no. Someone else. I forgot. Basically, she used to be the assistant, the orange haired girl. I forgot her name.
Oh yeah, I mean for the leader, right?
oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So they go and they search for like an Asian, differently abled character, like the Asian.
He was blind.
Yeah. So basically, yeah. So that superhero is blind and he's making use of like echolocation to fight crime and things like that.
Basically
And
Daredevil.
basically Daredevil. And the one argument that she gives is like, oh, he's a minority and he's differently able, like he can't see, so he will really boost up our points. But Homelander, being Homelander, wanted to dictate how things go, and he does something which we shouldn't get into it right now, but he does something that was not right. Yeah. So yeah, and then they eventually bring on Stormfront, who is like a female character, to give more importance to female empowerment. So things like that.
Yeah.
But okay, so
Yeah, speaking about Stormfront, I would say like she really stole the season 2. She really carried the show, I would
she
say.
stole the show. Yeah, she stole the show on two fronts. No pun on the name, but she stole the show on two fronts. One, the acting. The second thing, the actress is Jewish.
Hmm.
She's Jewish, and
In
she
real
had to be
life,
a
yeah.
Nazi. Yeah, and she had to be a Nazi. That was like pretty dope acting.
Pretty
Getting
perfection.
that,
She just
getting
like
that pivot. Yeah,
yeah.
till that pivotal moment, you don't know really that she's on the the opposing side until you reach that
Opposite
point.
Yeah,
them, yeah.
For me, it was spoiled because I already read on the article, like exactly who Stormfront is. So
Ah,
actually,
okay,
Stormfront is
okay.
not
yeah,
even exactly a male character.
yeah.
Stormfront is
I
actually
hadn't read the
a
comics, so I
gendered
had
character.
no idea. Yeah, I had no idea when I read
And
when I watched the show, and I had no idea if he or she was a Nazi. Like I didn't read the comics. So yeah, if you recall, Sean, Stormfront, when she came across the female who we later find out is named Kimiko, her brother, and both are like
Mhm.
Asians, right? Like they basically the fight happens with her brother, and she flings this guy into an apartment building, and the apartment that she flings this guy into, there were like three black Americans in that room at that point, and they're like, "What the hell is going on?" Like randomly, like an Asian is being thrown into their room, and then suddenly they see Stormfront. And as soon as Stormfront sees them, she basically loses it, or whatever you want to say, loses her composure, and then she starts lighting up, and then she kills whoever she comes across over there. Like she in the in the stair in the stairwell or in the stairs area,
yeah,
she
yeah, yeah, yeah.
encounters like a
Correct,
black
correct.
guy. She throws him outside the window, and then right when she kills that Asian character in the show, she says something very derogatory to that race. So they were going for that.
Right. So she's more on. So her Nazi thing actually comes out during that time, but we don't really notice it until like we realize
Yeah,
towards the end of the thing actually who
and
she is. Yeah, who she is and why she is so.
Yeah, I hadn't read the comics so before watching season 2, so I was like, "What's going on? Like, why did she do that?" And then two episodes later, I'm like, "Oh, that's why."
But even if you watch, I mean,
I
even
haven't
if you
read the
read the
comics yet.
comics also, I haven't read the comics either. But then even like, you see the comparison. Like for example, like this is a huge spoiler. Okay, like even till date, this is still a spoiler. But they're not. I mean, people who have read the comics and watched the show, they're not really sure how they're going to go ahead with this. But Black Noir. Okay, so
Hmm.
Black Noir apparently in the comics is a clone of Homelander.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay, so the idea is this that if Homelander crosses the line or he goes against Watt for any reason, um, Black Noir would kill him. So
Hmm.
Hmm.
technically, Black Noir is the clone is created to be a sort of a stop for Homelander. If at any point Homelander crosses the line, goes against Watt, or it does something which is out of control or whatever, then Black Noir comes and kills him. The twist in this is that in the comics, um, where you're seeing that okay, so in the series, how it is, you have what's the name, Homelander and Butcher's wife, Becca, have a kid
Yeah.
called Ryan. Okay, so in the comics, Becca dies in the starting as well, which is why Butcher gets into the boys. Butcher gets into the boys because he comes to know that
Homelander
Becca is
was
pregnant
responsible.
with,
Yeah.
yeah, he was responsible.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the comic, apparently, they come to know that actually it wasn't Homelander who was responsible, but it was Black Noir who was responsible for Ryan, and technically it is not Homelander who is the father, it is Black Noir who's the father.
Hmm.
And in the comics, Becca dies
While giving
not while
child.
giving
Yeah.
birth, while giving
Hmm.
birth, basically. So the kid has eye, eye lasery stuff and then heat wave or whatever just blows up her, she dies.
Oh.
Let's just not get into the graphic details word. But yeah, but that's like a very ouch moment. Yeah, as opposed to what happened to her in the show. But that also was a good twist actually in the end. Did you also know that mother's milk actually is also a soup? I know, right? I was also like, "Ain't."
What do you
So
mean?
mother's milk.
In the show
You
or in the
mean
comics?
you mean that's the reason for
In
Homelander
the
to do all those?
actually, sort of, because in the series we hear, right. So he tells this thing to the he goes looking for this lady, the black lady who's a witness to the crimes which Stormfront had done when she was a kid, right? So as in when the black lady was a kid. So mom's milk, mother's milk, whatever it means. So he says that my
MM for
father
short.
Let's just go for because mother's milk is very weird to say on a podcast. So MM MM comes to this lady's house and he tells her that so my father was working against what, and he was a lawyer, was fighting against what, and he spent his life fighting, and at the end of it he died. So the reason why he was fighting wasn't really explored much in the show, but in the comics apparently it is like in depth explored, and they tell us to why uh, this MM's family goes against what. So apparently MM's family was MM and his brother, who is using Zishan's words, differently abled brother. They were experimented on, okay, and they were experimented on in the sense that this guy got special powers. MM got special powers in terms of super strength, and the other guy, his brother, got superpowers in the sense of growing bigger in size. Problem was that when he got the power, he was wearing a helmet, and when he grew bigger in size, the helmet couldn't, retain the head, so it just kind of went pop, and he died. So MM's family kind of gets like, oh, you killed my son, and we have to go. And his name MM comes because that's how he gets his power.
See,
Let that sink in for a second.
That's a
so
lot
actually,
to digest
yeah.
right now.
Okay, so so MM is a super is technically a soup, but we don't see any of their powers in the show. So we have Kimiko, the female, who is a soup on their side. We also have Starlight, who is a soup. What are your thoughts on Starlight?
Starlight, I would say she hates to be a part of the suit, and after what she encountered on the day one.
She basically,
Actually, in the comic is a different scene.
yeah,
Okay.
in the comic it's even worse in the comics.
Deep wasn't involved in the comics. Deep wasn't involved at all. It was Black Noir, Homelander, and A-Train.
Whoa.
Yeah, but her character development was very good. Like in the start, she's like a naive character who believes she's gonna do so well. Like a quote unquote, I think she's like a wasp, right? Like white Anglo-Saxon Protestant kind of character. Like she's basically belongs to
Yeah.
a certain religious sect, and in the show they kind of show that like that's what do you say? They attribute their supernatural powers as doing God's work. That's why they believe that. Um,
And it's not only her. So along with her, there's some other guys voting the same thing.
yeah. Along with it,
Elongated.
yeah. I forgot that guy's name, anyways. But yeah, but you see throughout the show, and after her encounter with the Deep in the show, she kind of starts questioning everyone's actions. She sees what's his name, Homelander, behave in a certain way when he's in public, but in person he's a totally different beast altogether. He sees Queen Maeve just doesn't give any hoot about any, to the point like she just doesn't give a crap about anything, right? So
Anything,
it's yeah. So basically, she sees these characters that she idolized while growing up, or when she started her superhero career in in her fictional superhero team before joining the Seven, and then she sees it now from the inside, and she's totally lost on what's right and what's wrong. And then she comes across Huey, and she sympathizes with the cause that they have going on that side, and that's what you see. Like there's a constant struggle, and then towards the end she gives into one side which we as the viewer consider the better side, even though they are the antisocial elements of the show.
So, like when you're saying that when she meets up with Huey, it is more like that she sympathizes with their. But I think before she sympathizes with what they are going through and what they are portraying, it's more like she is seeing him as a person who is accepting her as a human and not a soup.
Yeah.
Because at that point he doesn't know that she's a soup. At that point she's just a girl sitting with him on a park bench and crying, or just like lost in thoughts or whatever, crying I think it was. After what happened to us. So then he's the guy who's just there listening to her and taking her on a date and stuff like that. So then later when he comes to know who she actually is, he doesn't want to use her, but Butcher being the guy he is, he's like, no, you have to use her, and we go ahead with that. So Starlight, uh, like you said, she has very interesting character growth, but even in terms of her power also, she's very interesting in terms of power, because her power is basically light, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Solid light, I think.
Light.
So solid light is actually a power of two people, one in Marvel and one in DC. So DC, you have a person called as Doctor Light, who uses solid light to attack as an attacking form. And even in this thing also you have in Marvel you have a character.
Mm.
I don't know the name, but there's a character in Marvel as
No, wait, there was a series, right, on this light thing recently.
Light thing.
well.
The girl is
I
using a
think you're
staff.
talking about no,
These are
that's a
kids.
different one. You're talking about
Power
yeah, I
something,
understand.
Project
I understand.
Power.
You're talking
Yeah, it
Star
projects
Kid,
power.
Star Kid,
Yeah, Star
Star
Kid.
Kid,
Yeah, I think yeah.
Star Girl, Star Girl, Star Girl,
Star Girl. Yes, is what Star Girl. Star Girl.
Star Girl. She has a staff. She takes it. So she
Yeah.
gets a staff from Star Man or something, and then yeah. No, but that's a different thing. That's a whole different ball game altogether.
Basically, her
So
power is energy projection. So any source that is emitting light, electricity, whatever, she can channel that, and then she can use that to use those as hits.
which we saw in the on the second season, that is actually her weakness also, because if there is no power source nearby, she's screwed. Like
Hmm.
an EMP blast or a dark room, like complete dark room with no electricity, nothing, then she has no power. Only power that she has at that point is super strength, which again
Hmm.
is sort of limited. So that's Star Girl again, which they have on their side. Now the thing is, we saw Queen Maeve also sort of come towards the side of the boys. What's your take on Queen Maeve? That's something which is little interesting to me.
See,
Because we don't
she
see
has
much of
no
her on the
side.
show
She
actually.
just wants to. Yeah, she's someone like who wants to be left alone in her own world.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess.
She's not someone who's taking on both the side actually.
So she likes Switzerland and then like neutral, is what you think.
Neutral, yeah. What I think, because she just wants to get her things done.
Yeah, I think, but that happens
It's
after the plane incident, I think.
Yeah,
in the
that is why
show,
she.
but she's seen firsthand the kind of atrocities Homelander has done. So she's kind of become. I think she also must have initially joined as like Starlight. She must have been like, "Oh, I will do this and I will do that and I will do good." And then she sees how corrupted the morals are from the inside, and then she just worries about like coasting. She's there. She's just living. She has the least amount of screen time from the soups, I believe. In season one.
Yeah.
Um,
Even
so
in season two, she's
she's
not
just
explored much.
yeah. So she's just there at the start, and because of her indifference to what's going around her. So that's what. And then towards the end, she kind of gives in and she picks a side to go back and stand up for the right thing. So that's why she helps Starlight when she has a fight or confrontation with Black Noir and subdues that guy. And that's when
Allergic,
she even
yeah.
yeah.
She stuffs him up with nuts.
Even the Stormfront also,
Yeah, and even with Stormfront,
which
yeah,
is very
exactly.
weird. This thing.
No, Stormfront was
Very
like
weird to
those.
defeat a person like open nuts.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's like she just like it was almost like a Powerpuff Girl formation there
Mm.
to beat Stormfront.
Which is very weird,
Yeah,
actually,
yeah.
when you
You
think
actually
about it. Like, uh,
why?
no, I was just thinking about that scene. Like, where like she starts hitting him, and then suddenly she just puts like an almond joy, like a candy
Yeah,
bar. So it just felt weird, and
Yeah.
we as Indians find it very
So
weird because, like, I growing up like in an Indian household, like, beta badam kha, ye kha, wo kha, like it's good for your like whatever, like immunity or whatever, right?
yeah,
Like,
for your brain and
yeah.
memory and stuff like that.
So I'm surprised like that, and that's probably why we don't see too many like people with nut allergies in India. But in the West, it's like a big thing. Like we try to keep.
You have nut allergy.
I haven't come across many Indians with that.
Lactose intolerance is one thing which is very common actually, but you just assume it to be like a very bad this thing. What do you call case of diarrhea or something like that. Like
Mm.
yeah.
everybody in India drinks milk, but then
Mhm.
Lactose. I don't drink milk.
Oh, you don't?
I drink
I don't drink milk.
Oh,
the thing of using almond joy, or the concept of using a very simple thing as nuts to defeat somebody as powerful as Black Noir. Because see, as per the comics, Black Noir is technically is actually the clone of this fellow Homelander, which they haven't told or explored in the show. how do you defeat somebody who's so badass? How do you defeat somebody who's like superhumanly like this guy has been blown by a bomb. He's been blown to bits by a nuclear person. Not bits, but he's just been blown by a nuclear person, right? And he just walks out of it with just a scarred face. He's been stabbed, he's been shot at, he had those IED bombs explode on him in the
Yeah,
house. Yet he
house.
survived. He comes and he still beats the crap out of people. How do you beat such a person? I mean, the idea that Queen Maeve is walking around with the thing in her head that if I want to beat Black Noir, all I have to do is get him on his knees, open his mouth, shove a chocolate bar in his mouth, and make him eat it. That's it.
Hmm.
The simplest thing where Americans are scared of nuts, where they have even in our products we have so and so chocolate was made in presence of may contain traces of peanut or nuts whatever. That simple small thing they've caught on me that it could be so this person's so-called kryptonite. It's a very good play on this thing on how a small thing can cause such a and it's not just almond joy. Any tree nut he's allergic to.
Hmm.
Okay, so we last left off with the show where Butcher comes to know that his wife is alive. He also comes to know that his wife is raising a son that is not his, but is actually a soup that is Homelander's son. And then from there on, we launch onto the second season. So according to you guys, how did you like this season of the show?
Okay, there are a lot of surprises, unexpected twist, and a lot of bloodsheds. And what I like is how Queen Maeve in the end turned up against the soup. How she came out to take out Stormfront.
Yeah, the
And
evolution of
then
her from starting till the end.
yeah, how Homelander was like put down without beating him, like without even getting like physically on him. How they made him lose the battle. How like he was not able to use his power. How like advantages were against him actually. Queen Maeve came up with the video.
Queen Maeve, yeah, yeah, with the
Yeah, Queen Maeve
tail
came up with the
highlighted.
video. Like he had the full power in front of him, but still he was not able to use it.
Right.
He lost the battle right there.
I think he lost. I mean, yeah, that is one way of looking. But if you remember, he wants to make sure that his son is also seeing like a better version of a father.
True, true.
So
I was coming to that. And
that
second case
also
was that he lost his custody to the son actually,
that
and
also
his own son has actually kind of disowned him.
Homelander had a family for like maybe a day at max. So he had Homelander, Stormfront, and Ryan. So his like
Right.
father,
Yeah.
mother, and then son. The whole trifecta was like there for him. For that, like you feel sad for him sometimes. Like, you think he just had a family, he was happy with it, and then in one shot he loses Stormfront and he loses the kid at the same time. So
And another thing is like how the corporate world they showed, like how they're using these superheroes to make money, making movies, advertisements, like the competition. Like you see A-Train trying to go to the extreme limit to be a part of the team. What
yeah,
it takes to be in the team. Like he knows like what happens once he drops out of the team. Like he'll be no more, nothing. He'll be just nothing outside there.
That's why he's very
yeah. So
insecure all the
that
time.
Yeah. I feel like they missed out something there. You remember the lab experiment, right?
Deep.
A correct no, the lab experiments. They go to the lab and blow up everything, right?
Yeah, in the first
Remember a
episode.
girl? Yeah, no, the second season.
The bald one.
Yeah,
And remember the
Silent
girl
Hill.
just yeah, the girl just walks out from there. Remember? She seems to
Yeah,
be really very powerful, but it was not. Nothing was like shown more about her actually.
There's a lot of like
somehow
loose ends that they will tie up in future seasons whenever they get renewed. So season
Yeah.
three
So
they got
but
the
I think
renewal,
at
but I
that
don't know about
moment,
future.
so I think for that moment, for that particular season, right? I think they used her as a red herring, like So when the heads were popping the entire season, what we were under the impression is Stormfront has let this lady go out, and then like sort of assassinate these people, like pop, like blow their heads off whenever anyone is getting close to what or going against what. So when you see her escape this, even there were many theories online also that she's the one who's killing people till that last courtroom scene, right? People are under the impression that she's the one who escaped from the asylum. She's the one coming and killing these people because they
But
found a way to go against what something like.
but that's the thing, right? Like there are two things to remember, like, and that's why I didn't feel that she was the one killing everyone. The reason number one was she hates what?
yeah,
Because
the experiments.
they're
She was locked up.
experimenting on her. She will not support any of that. Okay? That's number one. Number two, whenever she's making use of her power, she's not exploding just the head. She's exploding the complete bodies and like breaking structures. So that shows she doesn't have control over her own power. That's what they're trying to say. So she seemed a bit unstable to pull that off.
So what I thought when
Which
I
is why
saw
it
her
was
first was
interesting
like
because
she'll be someone who'll be joining the
So
boys team.
the
boys.
boys team, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
But
I
then
thought too.
apparently, like after that episode, that storyline was not carried forward.
That's what I'm saying. So that was a red herring place to all the viewers over there. They'll be under because see, I was also to an extent of like, it can't be that obvious, right? Like she escapes. Like what Z said is very. It makes sense that she's exploding entire body, not just her head, which is like very focused form of an energy, right? So, but then if you think about it, in the previous episode, in the previous season, if you see what the compound V that is there, it is used to amp a person's power for like some time. So if what was to release her out from the asylum just for these specific minute missions, increase the power for that just for her to focus on this and then get better. So she's pissed off for two things. One, because what is experimenting on her. Two, because what is getting her to kill people and not letting her free. So because of the entire thing, she's pissed off with them, and so she knows that okay, fine, now I can create a war between Bot and the boys. That's why she's coming. She's creating this mess. So it's logical thinking process, very long in that, but it somewhat makes some sense. But then when you find out who's blowing heads, but your head like figuratively blows up. Like how did we not see this coming?
Hmm.
You didn't even expect it to happen. That's the best part.
No, but actually, there were some scenes where the creators of the show kind of foreshadowed that happening when they showed the exploding head of the CIA thing. And these boys are like, "What must have happened?" and like, who's doing that, and blah blah blah. Like you immediately like they cut to a video feed of like Victoria Newman, who's the politician that who like they immediately cut to that feed live. And also like another thing, like to get your head exploded you need to be in the line of sight of this character. So whenever they see that happening, these all guys just like go into the car and just duck and they keep driving off. So they deep down they're like something that this is happening over here and we need to avoid being seen.
Oh, like till that moment, you don't think about it. Like you're thinking about okay, fine. It must be who's the guy who's heading what now? Esposito. His I forget
Yes.
his yeah. So he like what is it? Once the head explodes, the next scene when the show is hers, but they also show him watching it. Right, so then
Hmm.
somewhere you're like, okay, fine. So he must have told, someone to execute these people or something. So, and there was also another alternative theory about this person who's heading what industry right now is that he could be Blackmore.
Hmm.
That's one theory floating around it because you don't know exactly who he is. Okay, so okay, so Queen Maeve. Queen Maeve is one character that he found interesting along with her character arc and everything. Um,
Everything. Yeah.
what else? So Z, what did you like in the
About the show.
second second season?
Season 2, I felt they kind of had like a lot of dark humor in the show. Like even one of the clips they used for the promotion, the boys being at sea and then they kind of have a confrontation with the Deep, and then the Deep tries to act all cool because he's like um, kind of like so the Deep is like there to annoy us and he's doing a very good job at it, um,
Yeah.
acting wise. So yeah, and he's kind of dealing with his own issues, emotional and things like that, because he doesn't really have many people in his life, so he's kind of feeling alone. He has like body issues, which we see him like opening his shirt and showing the gills on his body and such things like that. So he's kind of dealing with that, and he's accepted himself. He's let the church, quote unquote, um, a parody of Church of Scientology, I believe. And basically he comes to terms with himself, and then you see this happen, this whole thing. He's like, okay, I'm going to get back into the seven one way or another, and I'm going to prove myself. And then he acts all cool on the whale, and he's trying to stop them, and Butcher just goes through that was insane. So like there's like a lot of no, that's the thing, right? Like um the boys, the show as such, like if you haven't seen the show before or seen any trailer or anything, you don't expect the kind of brutality and the gore that they have on display before,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? So now I saw season one's trailer before actually watching the show. My brother didn't do that. My brother would watch directly the show. And when the thing with Huey and his girlfriend happens, his mind was blown. Like, what the hell am I watching? And then
Yeah.
so on and so forth. They kind of take you through it, and then they show the full extent of it. It's not like
But
mindless.
it's not.
It's pretty well detailed, to be very honest with you. Like the way when they show the guts and everything exploding, they actually show you like um 3D graphics of like how your organs would look on the inside when things would happen.
But
Like
it's
the
not
translucent
that
one.
they are shy of it. Yeah, with translucent what happened. But it's not like they're shy about it. No? Okay, so they've exploded. Okay, so in the first episode itself, you see A Train rushing through and like basically dismembering um,
Robin,
Huey's girlfriend,
Robin,
Robin.
yeah.
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 So you see that, but you see the thing is that the gore keeps escalating, but it is not just for the sake of gore. It is for the
Hmm.
sake that we are basically easing you into a much more gory version of how superheroes can actually become. If you take into account exactly what their superpowers are and actually how strong they are and what they're capable of. It's quite a good depiction.
Not really what they're capable of. It will be. It's more like how dangerous it can be for the normal human being if they're not well controlled and
Yeah, and
not well
Yeah,
monitored.
and one of the things that they tell also, and this is what the lawyer kind of talks about with, I think, another character in the show. I can't remember who, but for them, a good day is less than 33% casualty. That's a good day for the superheroes at what? Anything more than, yeah, that's the thing. Like they have like collateral damage, something something. I think that was in the comics, not in the thing. And I've read like just 5 or 6 chapters of the comics so far. But in one of the panels, they actually tell that like for the like for us or anyone, any action for police, for example, like collateral damage would be like no deaths or like 1 or 2 deaths or something like that. For them, it's as high as 33%, and they're fine with it. They're willing to kind of ignore that and try to close those cases outside of court.
okay, wait. So when you're talking about character growth, one I want to ask you about is, so you're saying that you find deeply irritating.
He
Okay.
was, yes,
So in terms, well, he still is though.
he still is, but yeah.
In terms of A Train, okay, in terms of A Train and Deep, okay, so you have seen both of these characters do horrible stuff throughout the show, right? So according to you, which of these two have a better uh, chance of being forgiven in the show?
Chance of being forgiven. I think the deep more, because the deep is more there for like comic relief. He's there, or being a certain character. He shows the flaws that not everyone is perfect. Like you can kind of feel for him. The A Train, I don't have that sort of connection because he just plays off of it, and he shows his only intention is to be famous, and he wants to be recognized and make money or whatever. Like that's his only reason for being in Seven. I'm not sure what the reasons for the Deep are, but he seems kind of like towards mid-season of season 2, like he's kind of like mortified at the stuff that he's done. He's not happy with the stuff he's done, and he wants to make amends for it. That's why he's saying sorry to Starlight and trying to,
So he sort of goes into the thing of like apologetic state where he tries to
yeah,
fix
yeah.
it. Nitin, what about you? What do you think?
Yeah, see, like Deep had done something wrong with Starlight, I would say, but A Train is like always high on the drugs and everything, and is really very careless and reckless as well. His only thing is like he wants to be in the team, he wants to get all the fame, he wants to like be famous, like she said. But Deep, you could see he just went on a personal, I would say, like a personal time. It was like something a different road, a regret road he took.
Correct, correct. So then he tried to learn from whatever mistakes he had made earlier.
Yeah, what a mistakes he has done. Yeah. So he came back as a new person. So I would
So
say, like, I would forgive to both of them actually, because
why
A
both?
Train is also like a, like I would say, see, A Train is also much needed member in the team. Whatever the recklessness, whatever he keeps doing, actually that is needed. And you can see
But
like how we changed, how we gave away the slip. Remember how we got into the car and gave them the documents, everything regarding the
Oh,
Stormfront.
oh right,
that
right.
was pretty. That
But
was
the
a
thing
nice
that
scene.
is for his it is a nice scene, but the thing is that he had done that because of his own personal reasons. Like see,
Hmm.
Deep. no matter how much he's been hurt by the seven, right? He has not gone against the seven as such. Whether to get
True.
back into the seven or whatever it is, he has not gone against seven. He was like loyal to seven till the end of it. Right, even when he is there in the collective also, in the church collective, whatever it's called, he's there in it to get back into the seven. On the other hand, A-Train, he is trying to take down seven so that they will recruit him back in.
Yeah, true. Because
To
there'll
take down
be
Stormfront.
there'll be spots to fill in.
If among these two, if you had to give them an opportunity to get back into the seven to replace Stormfront, who would it be?
Deep.
Z?
Amazingly, that's not the pick. Yeah, I go for the deep too. Actually, at that point.
I would go for A-Train actually, but A-Train actually fits their sort of a stance. If you go to see, except for Queen Maeve and Starlight, everybody in the team is sort of like more. No, actually, even Queen Maeve also, they are more self-focused. Queen Maeve also, she comes in to help Starlight and Kimiko because she wants to beat Homelander because of what he's done and what he's doing. So because of that, she wants to get her relationship safe and everything. That's why she wants to beat them
Yeah,
and get
true.
back into the fold.
Main thing, she wants to knock
Everybody.
off Stormfront.
That is why I think that Atrium would be a better fit in the seven because with the the arc that Deep is following, Deep wants to make sure that whatever he's doing he's doing good. But the seven doesn't actually do any good. So they go against they want to just do it for the sake of the photo shoots or whatever. So Deep doesn't want to do that. Deep wants to make sure whatever he's doing good for the ocean. He's doing good for the even environment and everything, which is technically against what industry wants. So that's why I feel that 18 is a much better fit with the seven. Okay.
So you mean
Anything
deep to
else
the
you guys want to
boys?
talk about? Deep, not to the boys. Deep will stay with the collective. I think at the end of it, there will
Interesting.
be three factions. One, you'll be having collective, you'll be having the boys, and you'll be having the seven as well. Because apparently, from what I've read, season 3 shows that this fellow, Homelander, will be taking on a more maniac kind of a role where he gets like hyper pissed about everything. He's lost too much of things right now to be sane. So he's already half insane. So now that he's lost almost everything, he has gone completely on the negative side, on the bad side now. So then
Yeah.
there's every possibility
There's
that
a
he
new
might
character
actually see
coming
a
back.
shift.
They're bringing back Soldier Boy too, right? Not back, rather they're introducing Soldier Boy so
So
he's
Soldier
basically
Boy,
Captain America of this show.
so Nitin, because you just started watching Supernatural now, Soldier Boy will be played by Jensen Ackles, by Dean.
Deep.
Dean Winchester, who's there in Supernatural, will be playing what's his name?
Soldier
So,
Boy.
Soldier Boy.
Soldier Boy.
So if he's playing it, because Jensen Ackles is not playing, this is not his first comic character he's playing. He's also played Red Hood in Under the Red Hood, Batman.
Oh,
He's
but that was just like a
voice
voice,
acting.
right? Not,
Voice acting, but people really wanted him to take over the role as well when it comes to live action. Do you think that Becca, that is Butcher's wife, did she overstay her role in the series? I mean, should they have brought her back?
She is like what Butcher really is fighting for.
Yeah, but then when you're bringing her back in the middle of a show, so technically your entire motivation of fighting the seven is gone. So she's alive. Why will you fight
No,
me?
but no, yeah, she's alive. But now the fight became more, right? Because Homelander won't leave her because of his son, and she won't leave the kid. So what will step in if Homelander gets into trouble? The PR, images, everything. Butcher won't leave her.
Mm-hmm.
So the fight intensifies. It's like a kind of three-directional fight now. Butcher wants Becca back. Homelander wants his son back, but Becca doesn't leave the son. So it's all about how the three fits in and what's the best for all the three. And on top of that is the vote trying to cover up their image. So in a way, like you can see in the instances where Butcher made a plan to give away the kid, right, just for Becca. So he's really deeply in love with her. So he'll go to any steps to like he'll take any fight for her actually. So her staying alive is like
That's the thing though. Like,
yeah. So even if
it
she's
doesn't make
dead or
sense
she
because if
yeah
she
no, now the fight again increases, right? Because she cannot leave the kid. Homelander cannot give away the kid, and he cannot give away Becca. So the fight is more now. So her dead
But
or
see,
not dead,
at the end of season two, anyhow they killed her, right? Now
yeah.
the thing is, the motivation of Butcher
Uh,
to get
that is
into
a
season two
spoiler.
thing is,
yeah, thank you.
no, anyway,
I think we're way past
I
that
told
now,
him to
but
start with it.
it's okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So the point being that see, when you have already killed Becca in the book, okay, so the motivation that Butcher has to fight against the Seven that remains constant. There is a factor of loss there. Like there is a law, not law, but sort of a unspoken law in comics. Batman's parents remain dead. Um, uh, what's his name? Spider-Man's uncle remains dead. They don't come back to life.
See, I
Uncle Ben.
I get that.
Unspoken.
I get what you're telling, but the main thing here is like even though Becca is alive, but she was kept inside that wall actually.
No, I get that. I'm just saying what. No, okay, see, the thing is, she's been kept alive so far, right? The main idea was to make sure
Yeah,
that Ryan doesn't become like Homelander, where he has
Yeah.
mother's care and
Homelander,
mother's protection and everything, and so he grows up
everything.
into a proper
Yes,
human being and not become Homelander. My point is what, no? So once they have done all these things, you have made sure that Ryan is a guy who's feeling bad that he's killed his mom. He is scared that Butcher might kill him, but when Butcher takes him in, he feels okay, he is safe, and he chooses Butcher over Homelander. So now that we see that Ryan is coming onto the good side, we see that Butcher is taking care of Ryan. We see that Homelander knows that he's lost Ryan, and there is no point fighting for Ryan anymore. Problem over here, what has happened is that now Butcher has lost his motivation to actually fight the Seven. You
not
have
really,
lost
because
your
now
motivation.
no. The thing is that see, why did Ryan kill Becca? What is the reason?
Because Stormfront was attacking her, right? Stormfront almost
Yes,
killed her.
exactly because of the soups. So Butcher will keep fighting for the rest. Like he'll be
And then
there
he
to
would
monitor the
leave Ryan
soups
as a
and their
listener.
wrongdoings. He will like
Okay.
what do I say? He will like bring up Ryan in a better way, like how Becca wanted.
No, I don't think he'll do that. I think what he will do is he
No,
will convert Ryan onto his side, and he
That's
will
what he'll
make
bring
Ryan
him
like
on
him.
the good. No, I don't think so because he had
Exactly,
but
promised
that's
Becca
what
like
was
he
said.
will.
isn't Ryan under CIA's protection now? Like I don't think he has been
Good
assigned to.
point.
He's not going
How
to be
long?
raised.
Like he will
Raised.
Like Butcher
see
will have an overall guardian
CIA
look, I would
wanted the
say.
boys. No, he see CIA. They banded the boys with the intention to stop the Seven, right? If
Yeah.
you're having somebody a natural superhero like this fellow Ryan, he's technically a powerhouse who can take down Homelander once he grows up. You will need that guy fully trained to make sure that Homelander is beat. Correct. So then they will not be raising him in the sort of a loving, caring way. They'll be raising him to be one of the boys, whether Butcher is involved or not.
See now, like let me just come back to that point. Like you said, like Butcher will be like really demotivated, but I would not say he will not be
Hmm.
demotivated. He'll be like in more of a mission to take down Homelander. It will be all for like
Okay.
revenge for Becca now. The life which he could have had if not for all that mismanagement, because he'll be going against vote also now.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So he will be specifically against against what,
vote.
rather than fighting against
And yeah, so
Superhero.
technically, if you're fighting against vote, vote will deploy the best seven out there against it. So
Okay.
like it gets more serious. So far, we spoke about Maeve, Stormfront, everything. Let's dive into the main one, the story. Why this show is so amazing out there. Like you see, like a Marvel is good with the movies there. DC is really good with the animated movies and series there. And coming to the TV series, I would say boys have done really. They come to the top level there. With like season one was such a season like we could see the boys goes into hiding there because the Homelander's old boss get murdered out there, and they're being framed for that. And season two
Hmm.
starts from there actually, because Butcher was not seen anywhere around. You could see like Hughie doing his like makeshift roles, everything, trying to like meet up with Annie there, the Starlight. Then you can see like how Stormfront comes into the Seven there, how she takes the control without like even anyone knowing like how she's leading that. Like we feel like she's a newbie in the team, but then she actually like takes over the Seven. How she makes the
Hmm.
calls, how she takes Homelander into her personal phase there on time, everything. How she tries to be the stepmom for Ryan there. So the
Right.
like the way how the story goes forward, like you could see like it's so amazing. The build up is so amazing, and they left like few points for the audience to guess. Like one experimental soup walks out, then you can see like how Shishan made some points like head blasting out or like something like for my assumption was like she's going to be helping the boys in taking down Homelander, but nothing. She was not used now. And then comes Newman.
Great.
Like that was a huge shock
Christopher
in the
Newman.
end. How she's a soup, and Hughie just went and joined with her actually in the end. So next season brings a lot of
With
points
his
like
wing.
uh, like Becca is dead. Ryan is in the CIA custody, like they are taking over of him. Now, Butcher's like there to monitor the soups. The other guys returns to their family. Or what really? What is next? So there are a lot of experimental soups out there in the place. Homelander has gone like crazy.
Yeah.
He lost everything he has. Stormfront is gone. Kid is gone, and half of the seven is like against him. Black Noir is like kind of fried up. Yeah, like that's what they say in the show. Like he's kind of fried up. His brain is dead. So like
Yeah.
there are a lot of replacements. There are a lot of replacements coming, and how Vote will bring up new strategies to increase their PR stock market. How can they reverse that bad image of Homelander? So it is like two sides of rage are going to be hitting on each other because Butcher will come on full force because he lost Becca. Homelander will come out full force because his full whatever image he was standing for that is completely destroyed, and he lost his kid.
Yeah.
So it is like clash of two forces, and on top of that, Vote is there. And speaking about the story more into deep, like
They have
we got like a lot of twists,
Yeah.
we got a lot of bloodshed, head blasting, everything. Boys is in short is like they have taken the brutality to another level, like what we really not expected it. They gave an amazing plot and current. I would say like from what I heard from your point of view from the comics, I would say they're not fully adapted to the comics. They are taken bit taken out away from the comic as well as storyline to make it like more amazing. I would say.
Yeah.
So like, what is like your guys' take for season? Like I said, I'm expecting a lot of like more brutal actions in the season 3, like super maniac scenes.
Season 3 actually, like, and I read a few spoilers too, and I was just looking at Victoria Newman and the other stuff. So basically, how season 3 is, I'm not sure if it will come in season 3, but eventually they will try to affect White House. That's what they're trying to do. So one way they wanted to affect White House and things like that was by getting soups into the army. That was one of their methods. But now, as you can see, Victoria Newman is actually basically a politician who has been who's actually running for Congress, right? I believe that or she's going for presidency or
Yeah.
something like that. She's
Yeah.
running for something, and that's what Huey joins. So that's definitely like in their mind to like affect from the White House standpoint. What I don't understand is someone like Giancarlo Esposito, like his character. He's visibly a minority. Why is he working in a very pro-Nazi kind of corporation, right? Like, why is he heading them? What is his ulterior motives for like being with them and tolerating Stormfront's actions and the kind of say, like she even goes as far as saying to him like, you're pretty smart for your kind. Like she goes right there. It's a little difficult, and I think that's what they're trying to do, like get more shock value out of it. So they're not following the comics, but one major plot that they could, and that's where it looks like it's heading, is they're trying to bring it to the White House. They're trying to show they're trying to control the house of the president, basically. That's what they're
It's
going
like you said, control the White House. What if Newman is a part of board member, and what if
She
both
is
is
actually-
using-
She
that
is part of it.
according to the comics, sorry Nitin, spoiler alert again, but
Shit.
in the comics, basically it's Victor Newman, like gender swap. It's like a guy. He's not that smart. Victoria is pretty smart, as they show in the
Pretty
show.
smart, yeah.
Yeah, and basically in the comics, he is basically controlled by what, and that's the thing. So basically, she's like a secret agent of that, and that's basically why it was more. So they were trying to show even that whole courtroom scene, right? Like the Congress drama, whatever they were doing to fish out what. They basically they played it such that they didn't want to show that what wants all this to come out of all of this. So basically they held like a phony trial where they got rid of opponents. They created some space for like members to rejoin the Seven again by killing off Shockwave, who was supposed to join the Seven. They basically played with public by throwing the perception that there's someone other than what trying to manipulate things rather than just what being the thing.
So in short, The Boys just shows to the audience what Superman really mentioned in the movie, the dark side of a superhero. But I wouldn't say, like I'm not like especially for the Homelander. I'm saying
No, actually, I heard a very good quote regarding this thing where it was saying that Boys is basically a show which is telling you about like what you mentioned about how Batman basically says that, like every superhero should be kept on watch, but it's more on lines of how giving power to a normal person is different from giving power to the ideal person,
ideal person.
which is even touched upon even in the movie Captain America, the First Avenger. Even the guy who gives the superhero serum to Captain America, even he says he gives among all the characters over there, and among all the so-called candidates in the army camp, he gives it specifically to Roger or Steven Rogers because Steve Rogers goes and protects everybody else from the bomb blast. So
Bomb, the
basically
grenade.
showing a
I
human
mean, yeah.
character from his side. Grenade, yeah, in the TV, in the movie. So that's an ideal human, a guy who's having morals and principles and everything, versus giving it to a person like, for example, if you would give a superhero serum to Lex Luthor, or if you give a superhero serum even to Tony Stark,
Yep.
actually, if you give it to that person also, he would take it to a whole different level altogether in a negative manner because he's done that
See,
before himself.
Tony Stark.
So
I won't say he will go negative, but there'll be a massive side effects. Maybe
he
he
has
might just
gone
take
negative.
laws into his. He'll take laws into his own hands.
No, he has gone negative. He has been he has been given superpowers in the book, which was an entire storyline altogether. I forgot the name of the thing, but he goes into a whole negative where he doesn't take laws into his hand. He takes the entire world into his hand. He rules it basically in that. But yeah, so like what you mentioned, yes, the show does touch upon as to how um, superpowers being given to anybody is not good. If you're giving superpowers, it should be given to a person who has um, sort of an ideal to make sure that things are going in the right manner. I think that's the more
Like
justice side of it.
another thing the creators have done is they have like really played with the emotions of the soups. They have brought out the emotions. Like for example,
Yeah.
the lamplighter. He goes with Yugi to the building and he sees like, okay, I'm removed from it. They removed me.
Mm-hmm.
He just lights himself there. He couldn't take it anymore.
No, the actually the that emotion was different because he went there with the emotion to burn himself.
But
He
yeah,
went there with
but
the
seeing
emotion to
that
burn
as like,
himself, and
yeah,
That
he
was his
wanted to burn
trigger.
himself in front of his statue. No, he wanted to burn
Yeah.
himself in front of his statue. That's why he says, "I wanted to do it here in front of my statue." He wanted to burn himself in front of the statue, but that wasn't there. So he like,
but the trigger came like what Shishan said, and then the Stormfront while arresting the robbers or the crime people, she just kills them. Like, see, it's waste of time. Those regret scenes from the deep, everything. So like they've really touched the emotion to the screen there, along with the story.
um,
Like I would say, like they
yeah,
covered all departments. There was action, there was drama, there was a bit of romantic between Annie and Hughie there, and
Huey.
yeah, and Becca and Butcher.
If you
And
see
Queen Maeve and
actually,
Elena.
it's
Yeah, true.
yeah, that's what I want to touch upon. Actually, the thing is, one Queen Maeve and Elena weren't actually given the screen time that would have actually done pretty well. Second thing is, if you go to see, Queen Maeve is one person who's not been given much screen time on the show.
True.
As Queen Maeve, the character, as well as an actor as well. Point being, if you go to see both the sides, whether it is Seven or whether it is the boys, each of these sides have been given sort of an emotional baggage, each character. When you're talking, there's one scene where they show when they that they show the video leaks out that Watt is experimenting on kids with the compound V, and you see Black Noir crying about it. You see that, then you see how Queen Maeve is affected with, like, she can't have an open relationship with her girlfriend. Deep is affected by what he has done. So each of the superheroes are
Just
superheroes
Starlight with her
have a
mother.
emotion. Starlight with her mother. That's a
Yeah,
good thing. How actually because that relationship is what was there for quite some time in America. So because you have those teenage, no, child pageantry where tiny tots are basically like 8 years, 9-year-old kids going to
Hmm.
pageantry where they have whatever. So sort of a take on that as well. So a lot of social, like what even Zishan said in the starting, a lot of social commentary has been done in the show, which was a very wise thing to do in a very, see, kids would watch a superhero show. They wouldn't necessarily watch this superhero show because of, the ratings and everything, but
I wouldn't recommend them watching this.
yeah, because of certain scenes in it and the political
Scenes, yeah.
turn it takes. Yeah, yeah. So, but
And the
if we
violence.
are,
The violence is like a bit too heavy side.
I think they're
but
nowadays
that's
kids are very like desensitized by
Ah,
games and stuff
no.
that's what
for
See,
it's
I
that.
would
coming.
say like
That's what it's coming to.
like if you see like Marvel movies, they generally kind of make it kid centric actually.
But even then, if I'm not talking about movies as such, I'm talking about games. Sorry, Sean, you
But
go
Marvel,
games,
ahead.
see, Marvel,
yeah, but
Marvel
games
did
also like
that specifically for sales for Disney. If you see your DC movies, right? They don't really go for it in like very sweet and they go into full dark. That's how the comics are. Marvel has to go on the more kid-centric side for two reasons. One, because of the sales. One, because of Disney. I think my net is down. Oh, the breathing. Okay,
No,
because
no,
of the
I can hear.
sales, because of toy sales, and because of the fact that it is housed under Disney. So Disney has to make sure the fact that these people are, kid-centric. Boys, on the other hand, like what Zishan said, most of the kids right now are desensitized when it comes to these things because you're seeing it on a regular basis on TV too, violence and stuff like that. And let's be honest about one thing: kids right now today, if the moment they see an 18 plus rating, they will find a way to watch it. Once they hit 12, 13, they will find a way to watch it. And as of today, they are much more tech savvy than we are,
true, I get it.
than
But
we were.
like I would say like what Marvel is targeting is kind of the PG audience.
Yeah,
But boys is technically
as
like
opposed to the boys.
yeah, boys is technically like a 16 plus audience.
I would not go 16.
18, 18, 18,
Yeah,
18
18
plus.
plus, yeah. And you see like DC. DC is also again for the PG audience there.
18 plus. 18, no, no, 18 plus.
You see the animated series, everything.
Not the animated,
Yeah.
not the animated shows. Titan. Forget Arrowverse. Forget Arrowverse. Forget this thing. Your
Okay.
animated shows. Even
Now,
animation also.
now since we reached here, why don't we have a talk on boys versus DC versus Marvel?
Okay. Uh, if you really want to get to that, I'll tell you one thing. Boys is basically there is a universe called as the amalgamated universe. Have you heard of this?
No, no, not, let's don't go very nerd on that because I'm not someone who reads.
Okay. So there's a version there is a universe called the amalgamation universe where you have DC. This is an actual thing that has happened where DC writers and Marvel writers have both combined and they have merged characters. So like you have the merging of Captain America with Superman, where in this show you're seeing it as Homelander, but in the amalgamation universe you have someone called as Super Soldier. Okay, the amalgamation of Batman and Wolverine called as Dark Law. So something like this, like some version of the Seven actually exists somewhere, and the principles or the ideas behind Seven also exist in something called as Earth 3, where you have someone called as Ultraman, who is very similar to what how Homelander is. So Homelander is a person who's more in, like thinks about himself and everything, and Ultraman over there is somewhat similar, but he has nothing heroic about him. He's completely the opposite. He's actually the villain on that Earth, Ultraman, which is actually there in the cartoon called Infinite Crisis. So that's it. So if you're going to talk about DC versus Marvel versus the Boys, uh, Boys as a show is good, um, but for me, it doesn't touch anywhere near DC. I'm always going to be a DC guy. So
See, I
no matter
agree,
what.
DC guy, but it's okay. But I would say coming to the screenplay emotions and action, I would say
DC.
both sides are not created such a series. DC or Marvel
Watchmen.
has failed to create a TV. Okay, fine. I'll take a look into Watchmen.
Watchmen is not the movie is good. Uh, the extension of the movie or this TV show happens a few years, not few years, many years after the Watchmen movie. But the way that they're touching upon certain emotions, certain social stigmas in that, and the way they take a whole turn on how politics actually is, Watchmen is a good show to watch in terms of social stigma and stuff. Watch your Boys on the other hand, Boys has an element of superhero. Okay, in the sense that you can see action, you can see fights taking place, you can see the interrelation between the heroes and stuff like that. You won't get it's not complex. You can understand the motivation behind each of the people, but it's not complex. Watchmen in DC comic is very complex. Like till now, nobody is able to understand why Batman is not killing Joker. That's a complex thing. How do you explain to a person that uh, I my principle is I will not kill? The current storyline at the time of this recording, there's a storyline going on which is actually just completed right now. It's called the Three Jokers
Hmm.
in DC. Story is very complex. That complexity, I'm not seeing it in Boys.
Okay, you're speaking.
Comics,
You're
bro,
speaking from the
don't
comic
get
point.
me in
Yeah,
comics.
you're speaking from the comic point of view, right? Yeah. Let's come into
I agree with you.
the mainstream. Like, come. Let's get into the screen time actually on movies, series, everything. I would say, like, comparing to all the three, the best series so far in the superhero category has been, even though it is showing that it is a superhero, Boys have really achieved a top rating, I would say.
That I agree.
I
That I
think
agree.
there are
I
some
would say
pacing issues though. I feel looking at season 2, I felt there were some pacing issues. Um, like you were not immediately sucked into that world. Not like season 1. Season 1 was like you're just in there. Season 2, it took some time, 3 or 4 episodes in, and then you're like things
It was
started.
a bit of a slow start. Like I said, they're in a hiding. They're managing themselves like two soups, everything. So it's like a makeshift role they had in their life and how they're coping up with the real world out there. And
Hmm.
because they had to find
I
a way
think
to
the pacing
expose what they're
doing
true.
the
So they
pacing. I
had
think there was a
yeah,
different pace. I'm sorry. There's a net
because
connection between lag between me
yeah,
and you.
because once Butcher gets into the show, you can see the series was fast and alive. So
But
yeah,
again, the pacing that you're talking about, I'm sorry, this is the network lagging happened. The pacing that you're talking about, right? In the first season, you're saying that it was more quick paced because you were directly taken into the action of it. That is because of the fact that we were seeing everything from the perspective of Huey.
Hmm.
Huey was sucked into the story directly. That's why even we were sucked into it. So if you
Hmm.
go to see the entire flow that is there, we are somehow following the thought, the perspective of Huey. Huey was there in the first half. He was sucked into it. We were sucked into it. In the second half, like what Nitin said, Huey and the boys are hiding. That's why the entire story, the first two, three episodes, is going so slow, and then it picks up speed once Butcher comes in. Because for Huey, his life catches up speed when Butcher is in there.
Hmm.
So Huey somehow the other is like the crux of the entire show. Like what Huey thinks, how Huey is going about. I think like when you're talking about the third season, what we're expecting. Third season, I'm expecting that Huey is seeing more of the political side because that is how Huey is perceiving things at that point. He is perceiving that this female, what's her name, Victoria Newman, is
yeah.
trying to bridge the gap between the two, and so he'll be seeing that perspective of it, and I think we may see a more political aspect of the boys part of it. So that is my thing of it. It's like what we're expecting to see more from that side would be this.
But I'm eagerly waiting to see the Hughie's reaction when he comes to know the truth about Newman.
Oh, he's gonna have his mind
I
blown out, literally.
No, I don't think so. Figuratively, yes. Literally, no, because I think third season, this fellow will die. Butcher. Butcher
Butcher.
will die.
Oh,
When once Butcher dies, yeah, Butcher will die and Huey will take over.
interesting.
Hmm.
Placing bets because that's what happens in the book.
Oh.
No, because they cannot kill off Butcher because he's like the heart and soul of the show.
No, Butcher dies. In the comics, Butcher dies, and that's how Huey takes over the boys.
I agree, but then for that, the season 3 has to be all about the character development of Yugi to the strong level.
He is
which is
getting
already
there.
happening in the second season.
Yeah.
That's what, see, it already happened in the second season where he was trying to take over as Butcher.
But no,
He was
he
trying to
failed.
take over from Butcher. He didn't. He
And
failed. He failed. That's the thing. He
he
failed.
failed. Yeah.
And even MM and Frenchie to a certain point, they tried following him, didn't work out, and then Butcher comes in and then he saves him. But like what you are asking, right? How like if when Huey finds out about Victor and Newman, how will it be? I think that is when he'll find out. When Victor and Newman blows up Butcher's head, I think that's when
Hmm.
he'll find out. Okay, like Victor and Newman is actually the bad guy in this, and I think he's been on the wrong side, and that guilt will be his driving force behind leading the boys to get a better this thing.
Okay, now coming back to the main topic, I would say like the best movie department will be for Marvel. Eyes closed.
Yeah,
But that's money, right? Not it's more about
storytelling.
I mean, they make it like more
Storytelling.
entertaining out there. Yeah, storytelling, the way how they
yeah,
kept
of
the full
course.
flow going, how the Avengers like ended. The new Avengers are starting up now. Like Tony Stark is no more there. Captain America is no more there. They set their story very well.
Hmm.
Something which I would say DC has failed so far.
Yeah, just in the movie, like in the full like live action movies only,
Yes.
not in the animated movies or series.
See,
Marvel-
animated and TV series Marvel has never really reached anywhere because we can see their shows are like really poor and it keeps getting cut out from everywhere.
Actually enjoyed like Agents of Shield at
Agents of
first and
S.H.I.E.L.D..
Agent Carter. I enjoyed them. They were believable.
But Agent
Agent
of
Carter, I didn't catch up.
like the Shield agents is like quite started getting boring actually, to be honest. I was seeing the
They
last
made
season
it like a regular soap opera, right? They made it that.
yeah,
They made it like
I can
CID.
see like
1 week, some hero.
yeah,
No,
some character gets dead
drawback was
and
because they didn't link it.
see
Yeah,
the
there's no
character gets
link in the
That
stories.
was the
Yeah.
issue that happened.
yeah, character gets dead and they keep coming back and that is kind of irritating at times.
No, not
Agents.
no, because if it, no, Agents of Shield also. No, what I was saying was they're not linked in the sense. Agents of Shield was linked with the Marvel Cinematic Universe till a moment, till a certain point. After that,
True.
they were
Nothing.
moved away from it. Yeah, so any major changes that happen in this thing, you wouldn't find those changes happening. Like, I think the snap that was there, I'm not sure if the snap affected Marvel Agents of Shield or whether
I
they were
don't
even
think so.
there at that point. I don't
That's
remember
actually a
seeing
good
that.
question. Let me Google that right now.
Yeah. I don't remember because I stopped
The
watching it
snap,
because it
the last effect I saw of the Marvel Cinematic Universe on Agents of Shield was the Hydra, this thing,
hmm.
conspiracy. When in Winter Soldier, Hydra is shown. That was the last thing I saw of
Another
any
thing was like
coalition.
they had like the Ghost Rider in the show and it was such a strong character which they failed to build up.
He was a fan favorite. He was a fan favorite, but
I
obviously
know
different.
they
Who was the fan favorite? Sorry.
Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider.
Oh, I stopped around the time he was introduced. Like I think third or fourth
Yeah,
episode, I
He
stopped.
was good.
I don't know. He was not really the character was not really built up and taken further.
Hmm.
Gabriel, I forgot his full name. Gabriel something, but he's really good. I like him as an actor.
Like you got to see like a DC series, right? Like Legends of Tomorrow. You could see like Constantine as a series was taken away, but still the character is doing really well out there. Like they're building up the
He
character.
was he was doing so well, in fact, that because of the because the fans loved him so much, they brought him back in Legends of Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Also,
Arrow.
yeah. So and also the thing is, no, it's all in the Arrowverse anyway. So they brought in the character called Lucifer from the Lucifer TV show. If you haven't watched the show, bro, watch it. It's an amazing show, Lucifer. It's something similar to Castle, but more supernatural. But the
So
point
like
being that from what your takeaway is, from
since
what your
Boys,
takeaway is
yeah,
that
since Boys is a series, like let's kind of like in my opinion, I'll rank it in series basis. I would say that the rank one goes to Boys right now. The rank
okay,
the rank two stays with the DC.
you're talking overall.
Yeah, I
Overall
think he meant series. I think he meant series.
No, DC series. Okay, fine, fair enough.
series because you could see like going further into the Arrow series, it started getting boring out there.
Yeah, it became
The
like a
last
proper soap opera.
yeah, the last series was the last season was really good because that because it was exciting. They made it like really good there.
Crossover. Crossover.
So, yeah. Then Flash is good, and then Supergirl again started to get boring there.
I was never really a fan of Supergirl. She's good
Yeah.
as Supergirl, okay, but the story wasn't that captivating.
Hmm. Then there was one more, the Lightning.
Black Lightning.
Yeah,
I haven't even seen
Black
even
Lightning.
one episode of that show.
Black Lightning is good actually.
It was pushing. I don't know. For me, it was pushing onto the social. This thing. Like, see, in
I
boys,
get your point.
the social
Like
parity commenting.
Black Lightning is
It is
what you
there.
said. It is good. It is good. The start was really good, but then thing is that it's slowly is drifting away now. Like
For me, it's always been that Black Lightning as a character for me was never much of a thing. For me, it was always Static, who was a character for me. See, because you have Static and you have Black Lightning. So Static is basically the Black Lightning is the mentor for Static in the comics. Black Lightning in the books itself was not really much of a fan, a thing for me because he was there as among the first black superheroes in the comics. So they didn't really flesh out his character as much as they should have. In the series also, they are pushing onto that black actor, wherein they kind of overlap the whole story part of it. So for me, it loses out on the story part. In terms of cultural diversity, I think diversity, sure, it wins out. Story wise, not so much of my thing because they tend to link too much
yeah,
into
so
the
that's what I said. And Marvel's coming to Marvel series, it's like totally not really a fan of any of it.
that could change though. Marvel series could change because now they've got that Disney Hotstar thing where Disney Plus thing where you're having Wonder Vision coming up, you're having this thing coming up, uh, Winter
House of
Soldier
M.
and Falcon. House of M is Wonder Vision.
But I would
That's
like
right.
them to continue the Iron Fist actually if they can, because that was like really getting developed good.
Not
Even though the
really. He felt very broody and like boring. It was not
that's what
very interesting.
the casting was not good, but the story development was going good in the season 2 actually.
I For me it was I know among all of them for me it was Jessica Jones. The remaining not so much.
Yeah.
Daredevil
Jessica
fight
Jones.
sequences were superb. Jessica Jones is
Daredevil and
a
Jessica
character.
Jones.
And they had a crossover, right? All the
Jessica
three
Jones
people together one series was there, right?
Defenders. All the
Defenders.
four people. Defenders.
Yeah.
Four
Yeah, Luke
people.
Cage as well.
Daredevil, Luke Cage,
Yeah.
Jessica Jones, and
Yeah, so that's what I said. So
Defenders.
speaking about everything, like boys have done it back to back seasons. Like they gave the same energy, emotions, and amazing storyline out there. So right now in the ranking, I would say boys is the top level, untouchables right now. Until unless they find a way to screw up the season 3.
They won't screw up. Okay, from your perspective, you're saying that Boys is one, second DC, and then third, if ever Marvel it is.
Marvel, yeah.
Okay, Z, what's yours?
So I'm thinking superhero movies. I mean, sorry, show series. I'm thinking what else I've watched because I would not go as far as saying Boys is the best, but it is one of the good ones right now that you can watch. That's what my personal take is. It's doing the unexpected. It's pushing the boundaries. It's giving you dark humor, which I like. A little too twisted, unfortunately, but it's still good. Um, they have amazing actors like the guy. I don't know why we haven't spoken more about Anthony Starr as an actor, and
He's good.
he's very good. He's
Follow
very
them.
good. So yeah, so we that's just my personal opinion. Like he and Billy Butcher, what's his name? They both kind of
Carl Urban.
Carl Urban. They kind of took the whole show, and the other guys did not get as much screen time as they probably should have. Hopefully, season 3 will do more justice to them. But yeah, Anthony Starr just blew my mind. Like I had never seen this guy as an actor before, but I've heard good reviews about him. It took me by surprise. I guess that's what they were going for, right? Not many people knew Anthony Starr. I'm sure he's worked in like a couple of TV shows, but like I never was interested in that. I was never a demographic of that audience, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So bringing him into the superhero genre is very good.
Okay, so if you're going to rank according like what Nitin is ranking, so Nitin has ranked the Boys first, second you have DC, and third you have Marvel. So in your terms, what is your situation? How is your standing? Because I have a
It's a
ranking
tough
and I
one,
think I'll
dude.
blow your mind off.
I
Batman.
think okay, so this is how it is. I don't know, like I'm kind of indifferent. I'm not really like pro one family and the other, but I've heard good things about DC shows being that good. I personally haven't seen any beyond like um, Arrow or Flash or things like that. Like I haven't really seen too many, but yes, I still and I have suggested people watch The Boys because it is pretty gritty and it's pretty good, mind blowing, literally.
Okay.
So yeah, so there's no
See,
rank from me, figuratively, but no ranking from me, but like I still rate it as a very good show.
okay, so my ranking, and now you cannot steal this, okay? So my ranking in terms of superhero shows, number one for the foreseeable future is Umbrella Academy.
I haven't seen it. I
You
have
guys,
seen only just one episode. I haven't seen the whole thing, but yeah, it's pretty interesting.
you've seen season one, season two. Umbrella Academy is number one for me. Number two would be uh, the this thing, The Boys. Number three would be Watchmen because of the series tones and everything. And maybe number four would be this thing,
DC.
Agents of Shield.
Oh,
In terms of the whole,
Marvel.
if it comes to anime, whole different ball game altogether. For me, it's always going to be Young Justice and Justice League on the top.
getting away from that, like, and like we just have a couple of minutes over here in this call right now, but the Mandalorian came back for season two. They just released it yesterday.
I
I
haven't
know
watched it.
Haven't
it's
watched.
like it's a proper like spaghetti western, but set in space, and that always gets my fancy. Like I really enjoy watching shows like that, like because I watched Star Wars when I was a kid, and that really shaped up my what do you say interest in movies like that, or like reading more into like the universe and things like that. So growing up, it had played an important role in my interests. To this day, I like go in and out of like reading stuff about space and universe and any advancements we make in that. So but the way Mandalorian presented a story based in space and like it's like a proper western, I find it very interesting. um
Cowboy Bebop,
yeah, it's
Cowboy Bebop style.
sorry.
Space Cowboy.
Yes,
Okay.
I enjoyed Cowboy Bebop too. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
So I'm not really much of a Star Wars fan, that's why I don't get into it. I tried, not too
Hmm.
much into it. Star Wars,
They've done a
like,
terrible job in the movies. They start off well and they screw it up.
Okay. Since now we decided the rankings, we had like good choices out there. Like Sean gave us Umbrella Academy. Let's end it up like this. See, who's your like superhero? Who's your favorite superhero?
In any universe?
Any universe. You can
Oh.
choose like one from any universe you want.
it's
From
always
DC, it
going to be
has to be
Batman.
Batman. Like that has to be. Yeah, it has to be.
Okay.
No one else.
Always
Has to be
Batman.
Batman.
Okay.
From Marvel, Spider-Man.
Okay.
From the X-Men, take a guess who it would be.
Cyclops.
No, just from my personality.
Oh,
No.
from your personality, Juggernaut or Hulk.
Yeah, but it's not. That's the thing. Like I like a character who's totally away from my personality.
Professor.
Gambit.
Kajun.
Arjun.
Okay.
Cajun.
And Marvel.
Kajun, sorry.
In Marvel? Yeah,
X-Men is
that
Marvel.
X-Men is Marvel.
Okay, Nathan, what were you?
No, Sean, you go first. I would like to hear from you.
For me, it's always Batman. In terms of Marvel that is concerned, for me, it is going to be Spider-Man, like what X-Men, but I think Deadpool. He's more along my side. I think he's more like you.
Quirky
in terms
humor.
of, yeah, dark humor.
Okay. DC. My favorite is Constantine. Yeah. Marvel. My favorite is Thor.
Tor browser, yeah.
I would like consider my favorite as Magneto.
See, technically, X-Men is coming under Marvel. If we just bifurcating it because X-Men as itself is a huge thing.
Huge, yeah. It's a huge world. Very complicated world.
On
So
the
now,
note of
since
X-Men,
we said our favorite, shows and everything. It's like two universes that's clash right now.
Okay, so since we have spoken about all our TV shows, all our favorite TV shows, specifically in terms of superheroes, and we have belched on a lot about The Boys. If you're watching this on YouTube, please do leave on comments as to what other superhero shows, animated or live action, you would like to watch or you have watched or are your favorite ranking. If you have a different ranking system that we do, because again, everybody has their own personal opinion. If you have a different ranking system than we do, please do post it down in your comments. And apart from that, um, do stick around for our next podcast. We have something else coming up next week for the next podcast, which should be up hopefully. And yeah, that's that. Zishan, Nitin, any parting words?
Yeah, just don't forget to smash the like button like how Homelander goes crazy and loud like Thor. Share our videos and keep commenting your favorite superheroes, favorite shows, what you like the most about everything, and give out some topics to us like what we should
Yeah,
have a debate on or talk on. That'll be interesting to hear from your end.
yeah, please.
What we should be talking on. See what do you have to say now?
Yeah, as Sean and Nitin mentioned, yeah, smash that like button just like how A-Train and the female face off. Share this video like how Stormfront shares stuff on social media. And press the the subscribe button so that you receive all updates from Watt and you're up to date on whatever their orders are.
And on that note, we will be signing off. I'd also like to leave on one more note. Like we have been talking with superheroes the entire show. We would also like you to respect your superheroes, local superheroes who are your authorities in terms of medical, in terms of law enforcement. Please make sure that you're washing your hands on a regular basis. Use sanitizer, use a soap. Wear a mask when you're going out. Make sure when you come back home, you either have a bath or you wash your face and hands and feet with soap so that you don't infect yourself or others around you. Make sure that you are taking care of yourself, stay hydrated. Uh, Basically, just take care of yourself. Like, share, subscribe. Click on the bell icon, subscribe, so that we can you you will be alerted to whatever we've been uploading. And thank you for joining us. This is Sean.
This is
And
The
Nitin.
other two are
Nitins, we both are Nitins.
Yes, two
yeah.
Nitins.
So all the three Nitins are signing off.
Yes.
This has been an Avish podcast. This was a review of the
What
boys.
is
We'll see you in the next podcast. Thank you.